this ignition here, my hot wiring job here. Well, not mine, but the hot wiring job-ish. Ignition module replaced into the steering column and working on the wiring on the inside here. And once the wiring's all set and everything, then I can figure out how I want to do the dash and how I want to set it up and all of that. So yeah, we're gonna work on wiring today. Let's go! So just so you're aware, this is what I'm working with here, this cluster. So I gotta figure out all this jazz down here, all these wires dancing around. So see if we can get that put in and start organizing this wiring. Let's do it. Okay, so I was looking in my manual and couldn't find out exactly where this ignition switch goes, which YouTube, man, I'm telling you, YouTube's amazing. So from Branded Bentley, I think is the channel. He actually was replacing one of these. I didn't have one to replace, so I couldn't find it where it went on the steering column. So I actually just looked it up on YouTube. His was very informative, so that's a good video. But it actually goes right here on top of the steering column. So it actually goes right here, and this, I'm hoping, still works essentially. Yeah, so this right here, that rod is supposed to actually move that ignition forward and back, which I've been using a screwdriver to move this where it's connected. See if I can do this one-handed. But essentially, let's see. I don't know if I can, but there we go. So essentially, this is how you start it, right? I have the battery disconnected. Okay, so it's not going to work. But this is the, whoa, that's the totally off position. And then pulling it all the way down like that is start. So that being said, that rod is supposed to move this, because this is going to be this way, like that. And that rod, as you start it, gets pushed forward all the way and then comes back. Right, so that's how that mechanism works, and it goes right there on top of the steering column, which I was really grateful that his video was on there. Then I got to figure out, so that's one thing to figure out. Would be great. I wouldn't be using that to start it. I could actually use a key. So let's get on replacing that. Okay, so I'll try to do this without being too shaky. So I unplugged it. That way I can reach in there. You just want to get that rod into that slot under there. I don't know how well you can see that. Just want to get into that slot in there. And then the holes should line up right there. And there were bolts that were left in here that go to this, which was nice. So now just gotta thread these in here. I don't have a stand that will fit in here, so I'm trying to do my best to hold it. So, and these are actually size of these bolts are 5/16, and they're pretty small. Obviously, just looking at them. Just tighten those up. Let me do it with two hands and then I'll record. All right, got that bolted on there. See that? And one thing that's interesting, so man, it's kind of annoying through the camera there. There you go, a little bit better. So this is just hanging down here. So what I'm gonna do, and has like stuff connected to it and whatnot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna unplug this, take this bracket off, and get it back to where it needs to be, and then plug it back in. That way the steering column stuff should all be set, I imagine. And then have fuse and such that I gotta figure out what to do with, but yeah, so I'm gonna button this back up. There's a bolt on this side right here holding this bracket on. That's a 1/2 inch. And then also on this side right here, this first one, holding that bracket on, 1/2 inch, and that's what this connects to. So I disconnected this, and this is the, goes right over the steering column right here. Oh, well, you can see that. Whoa. Where did that go? Here it is. So I disconnected this so that I could route it over the steering column the way it's supposed to be. So it actually doesn't attach to that bracket that I thought was up here, that I thought went right here. It actually slips into this slot right in here. I don't know if I can do it right at the moment, but actually ends up slipping in this slot right here. And then I'll connect that back together, and that'll actually still be out of the way of the brake the brake switch and everything right here. I believe this is for a cruise control setup, but we'll get that wired up, and then I gotta figure out where this wire goes. As soon as I figure that out, then I can actually button this up and tape this all together so it's nice and tidy. But that should take care of that. Then I'll plug in that switch for the ignition. We'll go from there, test it out. Something to note with this is the white one, or the clear one, whoa. This clear switch has to come out after that black one. So the black one comes out first, and then like when you're taking it out or switching it or whatever, you gotta take this black one out because it actually covers, there's like a little guard that won't allow this to come out. So take that one out first, then you can take this clear one out. To plug it back in, obviously, you put the clear one in first and then plug this black one in. It is really tight right here, but it will clear really easily once it's bolted up properly to these bolts right here. But just keep in mind, you want it to be routed something similar to that. Now that that's all hooked up, before I button it up and really tidy it up, let's go hook up the battery and see if this thing fires up. Okay, it's hooked up. Let's fire this thing up. Okay, first test. Here we go. Cross fingers. Oh, darn it. Something's going on. Maybe it doesn't go far enough. Because things are turning on, but it's just not starting. Shoot. Okay, I was just fiddling with it, and I think I had this on the wrong position when that was turned on. Or when it was on the off position, I had this in the wrong position. So I think this is where it needs to be. Obviously, there's no labels on the steering column, so I'm just kind of trial and error. And so I was messing with that, just screwed it in, so let's just try this. Oh, yeah, there we go. So then, pushing that in, I can go all the way back. Technically, it's supposed to be auxiliary, I think. But that is off. And then there's some auxiliary ignition. I can lock it. I believe that's the off position right there. auxiliary, and then start. It's kind of finicky. Run off. So I think that's where you want it. Sweet, so that's all good to go. Now time to button it up. Okay, so looking at this plate has a nice slot for it. It's like it's designed for it or something to hold the wires that come in here. So I got those put in there. Everything's wired up nicely. So that portion of it is done. So I might, oh, look at that. They even have to hold the wires there. Look at that. It's like they meant to do that. So now it's just time to figure out all the rest of these wires. But first part is done. So that's how you replace, that's how you replace the ignition pack. I don't know what it's called. Ignition starter pack. I don't know. I'll find a name and get it on there, and I'll put it on the screen. But that's how you replace that and wire it up. No removal of the steering column needed. I appreciate you guys watching, tuning in, and joining me on this journey of kind of getting this back to somewhat good condition and ready to take on some trips. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully you found it helpful. We'll see you on the next one.